So giving you the live content for this week, the biggest things that we've been focusing on in the videos that I've been sending you have been individual technique for athletes, as well as some mentality-based things. For this week, we're gonna talk about some team style concepts. So why you would choose to run a certain type of offense versus another. So talking about the serve-receive style first. When we're talking about serve-receive for a team, a lot of people think running a high ball offense would be more beneficial, or running a fastball offense would be more beneficial. But when you're deciding what kind of offense you want to run, it's very athlete dependent. So when you look at each athlete that you have in your program, if you look at each athlete that you have on your team, you want to look at three primary things. So the first thing is, what is their jump and speed ability like? The faster that people can run, the faster that people can move, the higher that they can jump, the more ability they have to run an offense that has a little bit more pace in it because of the height and the speed of the sets. The less athleticism that your team has, the more beneficial it would be to run something that's a little bit higher so that people can get their feet underneath the ball and have the ability to strike it that way. As it pertains to setters, it all comes down to what is the setter's ability with their feet and with their wrists. The faster their feet can be, the more quickly their wrists can move, the faster offense you have the ability to run. If they don't have great foot speed and they don't have great wrist mobility, then it's going to be more challenging for them to have success as setters. So when you guys get into thinking about what you want your offense to look like, the top priority is making sure that you're looking at the personnel on your team. So another thing that matters when it comes to running a tempo-paced offense is longevity that the group has been together. So the more that a group has spent time together, if they have 3, 4, 5 years of experience, they're going to be able to have continuity and consistency more often in a faster offense. If a group has not been together very long, if a group's been together for a short amount of time, I recommend starting with an offense that's a little bit higher, has a little bit more loop, and then in time developing a little bit more speed to the offense. So in some of the videos that you're about to watch, you're gonna see what it looks like to have a setter or a hitter who's able to run something a little more quickly, and I want you to pay attention to those dynamics I just spoke about: athleticism, speed of the last two steps, jumping ability, wrist speed, foot speed to the ball, versus hitters who need a little bit more time, or hitters who may not have the ability to get quite as high, if that makes sense. So check out these clips and then we'll progress. So from a mentality standpoint, right now we're at the Setter College camp getting work in the back. What we've been talking to athletes about is the importance of making sure that they have confidence in what they're capable of rather than the result that they're seeing. So if they make a really good play, or if they make a mistake or make an error, being able to have confidence based upon what they know they're capable of, based upon what they've seen themselves do, as opposed to what they're doing right now. That's a really important concept to address with athletes, for them to be able to take chances and believe in themselves. Let's continue to build in the mentality program. All right, so we're watching Olivia Grover work on her jump float serve here. And big pieces that we're working at while she's serving are making sure that her last 3 steps all cross one another. So if you guys noticed that right there, that was one of her better serves, as opposed to Liv. Can you show them shuffle footwork on the last 3? Yeah. So this is what we don't want to do, okay? Try that one more time. You did cross over on that, so do it without the ball. 3-step shuffle, exactly. So the reason we don't want to do that as often is that is going to prevent us from jumping, as well as we can. So as she goes, that crosses, that crosses, that crosses. That's what we want. And then the second thing is making sure that she keeps her thumb neutral, which means like this, as opposed to turning it down or turning it up. Every time on the hand contact, we want to make sure the thumb is staying neutral through the contact. So let's check it out. Okay, 2 more. So the 2 things we're watching here are feet and then the thumb. Pretty clean serving. All right, so blocking drill with Gabrielle Deffler. She's focusing on her left hand shaping the volleyball back into the court. So each time you see her finish her swing block, you'll see that left thumb subtly up, shaping the volleyball back to the middle of the court. Each time her goal is to make sure she's doing her best with her palm and forearm angle to get the ball to go back into area 3 as opposed to the block out of bounds. See 3 more reps. All right, well, we're going on a hitting drill here with Emma Roll, where her mother is the All-American blocker, taking it over. So Emma's going to work on hitting front ones on time. If she feels like the block is up early, she's going to hit it high and hard towards the corners, because in those situations, soft blocks happen more often when we try to hit sharp. If she doesn't feel like the block is up and available, she's going to try to hit it sharp towards the edges and tees of the court to try to go in front of the defender. Let's check it out. But now we're going to ask the block to go wide. Okay, can you ask your mom to go there? And she's going to be running the set at a distance, trying to make sure the same. When she's at a distance, she's going to hit to the lane or area 5. Mama, can you go there? So getting into serve receive passing concepts and how we transition from serve receive into a defense is making sure that you have a good understanding of your personnel on your team. So why you would choose for a team to platform pass versus overhand pass, why you would choose to have a team that has 3 passers or 4 passers versus 2 passers really depends on 3 main things as well. So the first thing being, how experienced are the passers that you have on your team? Do they have a lot of experience being in a serve receive as a primary passer? When they pass, have they passed 6 rotations, or do they normally pass less than that? So whether it's the women's game or the men's game, making sure that you're looking at how much experience those passers have. Okay, regardless of what their touch is, regardless of how their natural technique is, experience matters a lot when it comes to choosing your serve receive people. The next thing to focus on when it comes to serve receive is, how are you wanting to space your team out? Are you wanting to bunch the middle of the court a little bit more and force servers to serve more towards the sidelines? Are you wanting to make sure the sidelines are covered so that your passers are consistently working into the court? These are important questions you ask yourself, and these are important questions to get the answers to as you're moving through your week-to-week and day-to-day training sessions. So as your team is in serve receive and they're working on their movement and they're working on the way that they're going to pass the ball, having them understand the concept of staging is very important. So staging is them getting ready to hit, so the time spent between actually doing their pass and then moving into getting ready to hit. So I always want you guys to spend a lot of time thinking about what happens in between each contact, between the pass and set, between the set and hit, between the hit and the block, or between the hit and then the defense, making sure that you're always spending time with your team on that in-between time. So some of the things that we're going to be doing in the content this week are going to be making sure that you guys see some of those in-between plays and how to do a great job setting up for what's going to come next. All right, what's up? This is for coaching coaches. So a concept that's really important when you guys are designing lessons, trainings, team style stuff is to make sure an athlete or coach understands first the technique of what they're gonna do, and then putting them in situations to do 1 or 2 or maybe 3 different things, but then also having a portion where it's freestyle and they have to be able to read it. So you don't just wanna go through your practices, for example, going like, we're gonna go all to your right side, or I'm gonna go only short. It's great for the athlete to learn how to do that, but then after they've learned how to do it, being able to make decisions and see it in a real-time situation, that's important. So what Charlie's gonna do here is she's gonna get about 6 reps of a specific style of ball. And then the next 6 reps are going to be what's called freestyle, where I can do anything. And each time we go to about 6 reps, we're gonna change what she does in that first set of 6 reps. So to start here, I'm gonna just serve her 3-step shuffles to her right twice, and then I'm gonna serve her a short ball to her right twice. I'm gonna serve her a deep ball to her right twice, and then she's gonna get about 6 reps where any of those things can happen. So she has to read it and track it. So let's check it out. So first 3-step shuffles. Next 2 are short balls with the right foot lead. And then we're going to serve her deep towards the right shoulder. Now after those 6, I'm going to say I can serve the ball literally anywhere, so she has to read it and track it now. So, keep that concept in mind with any skill. You know, if it's hitting, where a hitter is going to hit to one corner and the other corner, putting them in a situation where now they have to read it, or you're calling it out as a block. If it's setting, they're setting to one target, setting to another target, and then a situation where they have to make decisions and look the same while doing both. But for passing and defense, it's really important, whether it's hitting to their left, their right, high, low, not only running them through the reps where they're knowing where the ball is going to be, but also having the reps where they're unsure and they have to react. Where he's going with his platform twice and his overhand twice. What he's focusing on is the spacing from the ball when he's playing with his platform versus his overhand contact. We're doing a setting drill here with Olivia where she's working on dumping. So the 2 things I want you all to pay attention to as she runs in, she's gonna make sure she's running in a fashion where she'd be able to see the serve cross the net. So she's ready to get it off the tape if necessary, but she's gonna open her chest up to me and not swivel around in a circle. So Liv, can you show the entrance that you're gonna do? Where she would just open to me that way. Go again, and this time spinning like a 360. This is what not to do. So, losing sight of the passers and the ball. So those of you who are training setters, make sure that's the thing. But as she comes in, she's gonna get 2 dump reps. The first, she can go front dump to area 3 or back dump to area 4. And then I'm gonna bring her off the net where she's gonna come off the net with the right foot first. And she's gonna try to focus on looking like she's setting and 2-hand setter dump over the net. So focus is the entrance and then the styles of dump. So although we'd like the ball to come from a little bit of a higher point on her head, she's taking it kind of near her chin, her nose. She is doing a good job looking like she's gonna set on both balls. Let's see 2 more reps. So that's a way that you can help out your setters today. Off block drill for coaching coaches, what this helps with is being able to control the ball in front of you as a defender and maintain balance. So Seamus is going to make a dig, whether it's driven or off speed, and then he's going to make an effort to catch in the setting position, either standing or jumping 5 feet in front of him. All right, so that's it for the content this week. I want you all to make sure you're highlighting one area of mentality that you want to improve on when it comes to being a coach of these athletes. I want you to highlight one area technically for serve, receive, and side out. So making sure that you put in energy specifically to the side out portion of the game, and then one area of defense and transition. So that could be serving, that could be defense. But when you're putting energy into those 3 areas, you're gonna give yourself a much higher return on investment when it comes to the way that you train. So one more time, making sure there's a mentality focus for the week, making sure that you put in a serve, receive, or side out focus for this week, and then making sure that you put in a serving or defensive transition focus for this week. If you do those 3 things and you stay consistent with it, your teams are gonna get better, you're gonna get better as a coach, and most of all, you're gonna feel like you're raising your level and coaching is worth it. Let's continue to build.